Hey everyone, it's Evan Kirstel. I have a great guest today, Raj Kuneru, CEO of Core.ai, a company you're going to learn a lot about. Raj, how are you?
I'm good, Evan. How are you?
I'm really well, and I'm super excited to have you here as we get into the final stretch of this year. You are, in my opinion, one of the top thought leaders in the space of conversational AI. So I'm just super excited to have you as a guest. But tell us for those who aren't aware, what is Core AI doing, and tell us about your position in this marketplace.
Yeah, so Core AI is almost a 9-year-old company, and we built out a platform, what we call the experience optimization platform, about 6 or 7 years ago. And what we saw is that as machine learning became more mainstream and natural language understanding became more practical to use, in customer interactions and employee interactions. A number of these interactions, which are today handled by humans, can be handled by virtual assistants that can engage with a customer or an employee or a supplier in a digital channel or in a voice channel, understand what the user says, and be able to respond to that request. And that request could be a question, it could be an inquiry, it could be a request for a transaction. And that provides a superior experience than having to wait on hold or repeat yourself or uh, being transferred from one person to another. And it also provides a 24 by 7 help desk, if you will, whether it's for customer support or IT or whatever. And that's basically what we're focused on. We're trying to optimize the experience that customers have and employees have when they engage with an enterprise, and improve that experience to an extent where much of the requests can be automated and therefore reduce cost for the enterprise, but also improve customer satisfaction overall.
Conversational AI has been a long time coming. Certainly, a lot of the research has taken decades to get us here. But what happened through the pandemic has been, shocking to see this surge in adoption and demand for automation, in particular, virtual assistant technology. What was that like through the pandemic to see this surge in demand and use cases, and finally adoption in the real world? That must have been quite extraordinary ride. Oh, sorry, Raj, we've lost your audio.
Yeah. So,
The
in
beauty of
general,
live streaming, yes. So
yes, sorry. Yeah, in general, the volumes went up significantly because of the pandemic. People sitting at home, making phone calls or getting on chat or going online to get help. So that, surprised and, caught enterprises, unawares, and, led to a huge demand for agents to handle all that volume. Now, agents also were not available. I mean, a lot of them don't want those kind of jobs. It takes a long time to train them and make them proficient in their jobs. So, conversational AI came to the rescue in many ways to be able to handle that volume, to be able to satisfy that customer's request, and help the enterprises provide superior customer service and therefore improve their brand and improve their ability to keep the customer and grow their customer base.
yeah, amazing. And we've seen a surge in adoption in certain industries and verticals. Where is the demand coming from, in your opinion? Where are you seeing most customer traction?
Well, in terms of industries, those industries which have large consumer bases are the ones where we're seeing the most demand coming from. So, generally speaking, if you classify a company as a B2C enterprise versus a B2B enterprise, if it's a B2C enterprise with large consumers, as customers like banks, insurance companies, telecom companies, retail companies, so on and so forth, Even some of the governments and people like that, they have a constant stream of calls and chats that they have to address, and there we see huge demand for conversational AI to optimize those channels and optimize the customer experience. We're also seeing demand from those companies which have large number of employees, because employees need service as well. Their laptop breaks, they need to reset a password, they need access to an application or whatever the case may be. So there are IT requests, HR requests, procurement requests, some finance requests, sometimes legal requests that can also be automated. So we're seeing almost 50% of our customer base deploying internal facing virtual assistants as opposed to external facing virtual assistants.
Yeah, as someone who worked in big enterprises for 30 years, it can be very frustrating as an employee, dealing with internal bureaucracy. So it's great to see that experience being reinvented for all workers, particularly remote workers who can't walk down the hall and talk to IT, for example. It's not just the industry that's risen, though. You in particular have at Core AI have risen to the top. So congratulations for that. I read there's about 500 different vendors of different types of conversational AI platforms and tools. So what's the secret to your success? How have you risen to the top, literally, of things like the Gartner Magic Quadrant and other lists of your competitors?
Yeah, I mean, we've laser focused on the technology itself. Conversational AI is new to most IT departments because most IT folks uh, are experienced in developing UI based applications and not language based applications. So we built a platform which is a no code platform to make it easy for an enterprise to be able to design and build and train and deploy these virtual assistants. And it's the full life cycle, right, of a virtual assistant. A virtual assistant becomes like a living being that needs to be nurtured and improved and adapted over a period of time. So the tools, the technologies that we've deployed, focused on one thing, which is make it easy. Make it easy for somebody to imagine a conversation and design it. Make it easy for them to build it. Make it easy for them to integrate to backend systems. Make it easy for them to train the bot with, training that may be required to make the NLP engines much more accurate, and then be able to test it and deploy it and then learn from how it's being used. Now, NLP is the component that's new to most IT departments and most enterprises in general. So there are various methodologies by which you can do NLP. Most of our competitors, err on the side of only using a machine learning network of some kind to be able to predict what the user may have said. We've chosen to use that, but also we built a semantic engine and also a knowledge graph engine. So there are three engines which listen to what the user says and understand what the user says and be able to accurately predict what they may want to get executed. And that helped many of our customers be able to get more accuracy with less training and solve the NLP problem of not knowing how to train these bots. So it's a lot of work. We're in version 9.3 of our experience optimization platform, and we're going to version 10. So it's the widest and deepest platform of its type on the market, which caters to various nuances of how to manage a dialogue with an end user. Users don't talk to you in a linear fashion. They tend to change the subject. They digress. They go in a different direction. Come back to what they were talking about. So the virtual assistant being able to understand that, much like a human would understand that, is a critical element of how a platform should enable a designer to design that conversation. So it was a lot of effort, a lot of learning from our own customer base, and a lot of research that helped us build out what we have today. And we're thankful that Gartner has rated us as number one, and some of the other analysts have named us as number one. We deploy this platform at very, very large scale. for some very large enterprises. A large health insurance company automates 100 million calls that
Wow.
come into their contact center. One of the largest banks in the world automates today about 30 million chat sessions, but is about to get started automating over 300 million calls that come into their contact center. So now conversational AI is mainstream, and we provide a platform that is easy to use but highly scalable, highly secure, enterprise grade, which can cater to such large volume use cases.
Yeah, highly scalable, ideal for large enterprise. But then again, large enterprises are typically constrained by lots of technical debt and old ways of doing things. And how have you managed to support these big global enterprises and navigate through these challenges and roadblocks? Bringing in a new and innovative tech stack is not easy.
Well, the tech stack itself is based on commonly used technologies like Node.js, MongoDB, RabbitMQ, Redis. The application layer, which is the platform that we provide, is where all the value is in terms of the ability to design and train and build and deploy these virtual assistants and measure and get analytics on them. So the tech stack, the underlying core tech stack, is not something new to enterprises. But there's a lot of things that go into it from a security standpoint. A large number of our customers are in regulated industries, so we get certifications. Basically, we are HIPAA compliant, we are FINRA compliant in that regard. So we put effort to do all of those things, as well as from a scalability standpoint, the way we've architected our platform is highly elastic, horizontally scalable, basically, so you don't have bottlenecks in any one component of the platform. So those were basic foundational elements that we took care right from the beginning, and that has held us in good stead to win these large enterprises. But again, while a large enterprise may have a lot of technical debt and a lot of applications that need to be integrated to, our focus was to cater to them, to make that easy for them. Integrating to backend APIs or an RPA tool in the backend is all built in. It's easy. It's no code. You can get data back from backend systems, put data back into backend systems. You can manipulate that data. You can construct messages in different ways. So it is the comprehensiveness of our platform which our large enterprise customers find very valuable for them to use.
Fantastic. And you recently launched a freemium and a pay-as-you-go model. So on one hand, you're working with Fortune 2000 type of companies, but you also have pay-as-you-go, which would loan itself to any kind of company or developer. So what was your thought on this model? What a vision do you have for that go-to-market?
Well, it's simple, right? We have an enterprise grade platform and other platforms that are related to it, like Smart Assist, which is our contact center platform, Agent Assist, which is our agent platform to assist agents while they're taking a call or a chat, Search Assist for a search-based, conversational search platform, and now very soon we're going to release Work Assist, which is a employee experience platform. But the most important thing is we proved this out with the most complex, largest enterprises on the planet at scale with highly secure environments. And we went in there with the kind of platform which is no code, which is easy to use, which they can build out complex use cases. Well, if all that is true, why not make it available to anybody?
Hmm.
So it's the opposite of SaaS companies where they start in SMB and go to enterprise. Well, we did the hard part first, and now we're making it available to anybody on the planet to be able to access the platform, try it for free, basically, and realize their vision of a virtual assistant, deploy it on over 40 channels, and then when they feel like, okay, this thing has legs, then pay us on a usage basis and go forward. So we're seeing large uptick in number of customers coming to us through our freemium model. At last count, last month we added 1,000 customers who
Wow.
came through our freemium model, and prior to that, we were adding about 500 a month, basically. So 1,000 a month is a lot. Now, not all of them will convert into paid customers, but that's not where what we're focused on. We're focused on adoption, and to be able to support that, we created a online learning management system called Core.ai Academy, where we have over 40 courses that anybody can access for free with any kind of ID, including a Gmail ID or whatever, and learn our platform, get self-certified. We have a community portal where our users talk to each other, and we provide support even to free users, basically to enable them to be successful. So we're trying to make it uh, basically democratize the use of our platform, across the enterprise and small business customer base.
Love it. You're so far ahead of the curve. Very, very impressive. So, where are you focused on the next year, 2, 3 years? How do you see yourself at Core and maybe the industry evolving?
Yeah, well, there are two or three areas we're focused on. One, on the core platform itself, we've recently added the ability to use large language models to be able to look at unstructured data and be able to identify both questions and answers from unstructured data. Prior to that, we had something called Knowledge AI, a framework which could extract out a pair of question and answers from unstructured sources like websites and PDF documents and that sort of thing. But with the advent of LLMs or large language models, those have improved significantly. Now, the way we are doing it is different from the way people think of using LLMs, which is that we are using that at design time, to be able to extract out questions and be able to get uncurated answers, and then using our knowledge graph to be able to add training to those questions and those answers and put them into a ontology structure to increase the accuracy of the answers provided by these LLMs. So that I think is going to be important. Also, in terms of zero shot learning, we have predefined models for various domains, which like don't require any additional training for you to be able to deploy them. We have them in about 8 domains, and we're making it domain specific to increase the accuracy rather than one single large, trained model that goes across verticals, because your false positives increase when you have one single model. So that's one big area we're focused on. Secondly, we are increasing the number of our pre-built solutions. We've had very good success with our pre-built solutions for banking called Bank Assist, for healthcare called Health Assist, for IT called IT Assist, and HR called HR Assist. Now we're expanding that. We are creating one for retail and e-commerce called Retail Assist, another one for travel called Travel Assist, and then on the internal facing side, we're about to release a new product for procurement called Procure Assist, which enables both the requester, the purchasing manager, and the supplier to engage with the bot to be able to complete the entire process of procurement. We're also creating Recruit Assist for recruiting. Again, the hiring manager, the recruiter, and the applicants can engage through the bot to complete the recruiting process. We have one called Sales Assist coming out for sales people, as well as for engagement with consumers who come on your website, basically, or on your mobile app. So there's a whole plethora of pre-built use cases that we're creating to make it easy for companies to deploy these kinds of use cases. And lastly, we are adding more functionality to our contact center and agent assistance platform. Our contact center platform is an AI first contact center. It's the first of its kind in the market, called Smart Assist. And we're adding a plethora of new features to make those contact centers much more efficient, focus on the content of the conversation rather than focus on the infrastructure. So far, we believe uh, contact centers are focused on infrastructure, routing a call, and providing an application to the agent to service the customer. With AI, you focus more on what is the request of the customer and how do I automate that and how do I use that knowledge to route it to the right agent and how do I help the agent. So we're flipping it on its head to put the right focus on the right things. So that's another big area that we're focused on in general.
Fantastic. Well, good luck in reinventing some of those industries. They definitely need it, particularly travel. We all have our own personal anecdotes of frustration through the pandemic with travel. Speaking of travel, I understand you love to travel personally and professionally. In the last few minutes here, what's your favorite destination? Where do you really enjoy going, or what's next on your bucket list?
Oh, a favorite destination. Well, it depends on when you're talking about, but used to like London, basically.
Yes. Okay.
Now maybe Tokyo. Uh, I mean, and travel, ebbs and flows. Like, I love going and meeting customers. That's the thing I love about travel. For all the remote work you can do, nothing beats a face-to-face meeting, where you can build a relationship, understand the body language, be able to shake a hand and be able to sit down for a meal and be able to understand what the customers are wanting to do. What are their challenges? What are their opportunities? What are their objectives? And get them to understand that you are committed to their success. So that's what I really love about travel. The destination itself is almost irrelevant because most of the time you never see anything at the place. You
That's
end up
true.
going to the
That's
hotel
true
room, going to the
for
customer,
sure.
and going back to
Um, and just I heard an anecdote from one of your colleagues, that you come from quite a family that's quite a history in the movie business in India and Bollywood. Tell me about that. You weren't attracted to the movie business. You decided to go the tech route instead.
Well, yeah, my father was a movie producer and director in Indian
Oh wow,
movies back in India. So all my childhood, I grew up, at a shoot somewhere during my vacation time and during school. So got a real appreciation for the creativity and the the fluidity of that industry. Basically, it's not for the faint of heart for sure. That industry. So tech was a passion of mine, so I decided to go into tech rather than the creative field, and trying to use as much creativity I can in the tech world, like we're doing with conversational AI and experience optimization right now.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, creativity in tech, plenty of room there. Apple's big event is this week, so we'll see hopefully some creativity on display. But thanks so much for joining me and sharing your vision and a business update and onwards and upwards, to infinity and beyond.
Thank you, Evan.
Congrats on all the good work. Take
Thank you so
care.
much. You take care now.